What's up, guys? We're here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to bring you my Spark build and just talk about this end game, early end game, or mid end game Spark build. We're doing like T14, T15s with it, but I wanted to bring you this build because not only is it one of the strongest in the game, but lightning builds are all over the place, and that's one of the reasons that we made a Stormweaver in addition to our Chronomancer. So we wanted to bring lightning builds to the channel, and we started off with the ball lightning and lightning warp build, which you can check out on the channel. I think that build is very, very fun, very, very cool, but it really struggled defensively in the sense of not having enough defenses. You had to invest highly in a crap ton of gems in order to have any kind of survivability and maybe potentially a shield. But otherwise, there was the stun issues that came with ball lightning and lightning warp. So we kind of pivoted and came to Spark and Flame Wall Spark, which is what we used through the entire campaign, which is really, really sweet. This build is amazing, and it absolutely clears and destroys everything. So I wanted to bring you an end game guide for this. Now, I will say, for any questions coming up to, like, if you were using the leveling build for Flame Wall and Spark, you can easily pivot right into this build. So I'll have a planner and everything down in the description below, but let's go ahead and break down what we have here and what's really going on, because this is not only one of the easiest builds in the game, but a very, very fun build. Now, it is very gear heavy, like most builds in the game, but once you get it going, if you had kind of built up your gear throughout the campaign for Firewall and Spark, then it's going to be an easy transition. Now, this is kind of a crit version, but I do want to get out early in the video, because I know some people were very mad in my Meteor builds about how they were kind of like gated behind an amulet, and this is going to be the same thing. For this build to work very efficiently, you are going to need the Everlasting Gaze, and as far as I know, these go for about 1 to 2 div right now in the game. However, you can still do this build without it, but you're going to be severely behind. You can probably push like T5 to T10s, but once you get past T10s, you're going to need this amulet no matter what. So let's talk about the build. Let's go into the passive tree before we get into the gear, and just kind of talk about this tree really quickly, because I know this is what a lot of people want to see. So we built a crit version. Now, the biggest 3 nodes that we are using is Mom, so Mind Over Matter. So all of our damage is taken from our light or mana before life, which we have 3,800 mana right now and 2,900 shield. My numbers are low. We still got some gear improvements to make, but right now I am just easily cruising through maps. The 50% less mana recovery rate is really bad, so we got to make sure that we combat that in a very good way with some mana regeneration, which is why the Everlasting Gaze is so important. The first big node that you're going to take is Eldritch Battery, which converts all your shield to mana. So that gives us more mana, which in turn is going to give us more damage and survivability. The third one is Chaos Inoculation. So our maximum life becomes 1, but we're immune to chaos damage. All right, that's why you see down here that my life is 1. And we have shield. Now, how do we get this shield if Chaos Inoculation takes us to 1, and then Eldritch Battery takes all of our shield and puts it into mana? Well, the Everlasting Gaze says that 23% of my maximum mana as extra maximum energy shield. This is actually a low roll because mine doesn't have 30%, it only has 23. But that's how we're able to have the shield first, and then we'll take damage from our mana pool before our 1 life actually hits. Being immune to chaos damage in the highest maps is really, really good. So this build works flawlessly. I will tell you 100% not to switch to Mom and Chaos Inoculation without having this amulet. So Eldritch Battery can work if you have the survivability for it, like if you have a lot of mana, because we're mana stacking. But don't do that until you get the amulet. So those are the 3 big nodes. Otherwise, we're going for all energy shield here through Pure Energy and Mana Blessing and Insightfulness, which really we could go get 40%. Then we got Mana Regen and Arcane Blossom. Then we're going to come up and we're going to take all of these good nodes here for energy shield recharge rate. Touch the Arcane, which is great for increased effects of Arcane Surge. We're taking all natural for more damage, as well as Storm Charge, because we are critting. There's so many sparks on the field that we're going to be able to crit. And we take some nodes that increase our crit. We got Calibration for more mana and more energy shield. We're going to come over here and grab Eldritch Battery. Like I said, Arcane Intensity on top of Pure Power just really scales our damage, which is fantastic. And we got a bunch of energy regen nodes in here. Now, then we're going to take preservation for increased skill effect duration. We probably don't need this. We could probably change this at some point, but for right now, I'm just going to keep it on. All this does is allow our sparks to just kind of stay out here longer, which is why you can see so many for so long. Now we're going to go into like our crit formula here. We got controlling magic for crit. We scroll down here to this right side, and we're going to grab True Strike for crit as well as for the Jugular for crit. Now, we're not taking the crit node in here on Critical Overload just yet. We could probably spec into that once we grab a couple more levels. But for right now, the crit and damage scales very, very high with just the nodes that we have, which is why we're doing the crit version. Because with our wand, you want to make sure that you get an attuned wand. And it has such a high roll that you can get on critical hit chance for spells. Mine is 91%. So we're able to crit a lot. Now, you don't have to go into a crit version. You don't have to do this. You can still stack mana and stack more energy shield and mana regen in other places on the tree. But right now, this is what I'm working with for now because I have such a good wand. So gear, you want to look for like any flat damage, high spell damage, high mana, pluses to level of lightning spells, a high crit chance, and then cast speed. Now, ideally, like this is probably a perfect wand for what I have now, but the numbers just need to be better. I need to be over 100 and something mana. My spell damage needs to be significantly higher, and I need more cast speed. But for right now, this wand is really, really good. Now, in our offhand, we got all increases to energy shield, more max mana, more cast speed. Intelligence is very, very good here in one resistance. Intelligence, every point of intelligence, we get 2 mana, so it stacks our mana even more. Of course, like I said, you need the Everlasting Gaze, which is so strong here. In our helmet, we're going for energy shield again. We're scaling that. It's the same stuff with maximum mana. Then you could go into reses here. I wish I had a third res instead of life regen per second, but that's okay. We're still got some small improvements that we can make. In my chest piece, the same thing here. Instead of max life, I really want maximum mana. If you get the Expert Keth Raiment, it has an implicit that already gives you 45% plus mana regen, which is huge. So this is really good. You just want maximum energy shield into mana, and then maybe you could do intelligence instead and have 2 high reses, which would be really good. In our belt, we're looking for the same stuff. Mana, all reses, and then increase energy shield and stuff, so I need a new belt. My boots are really good. You want a minimum of 30% move speed in this build. Maximum mana, intelligence, and then reses would be very, very good here. In our gloves, I actually have a really insane glove roll here with the 100% increased energy shield. So that with maximum, the intelligence roll is insane. The mana roll is insane. And I wish the intelligence roll was higher. And then 2 reses, like these gloves are amazing. Now into our rings. You're going to use your rings for really, not only a lot of mana to kind of cap your reses to some degree, but more importantly, the mana regeneration. So for those who don't know, you can get mana regeneration on your rings, and you can get it all the way up to 80%, which is kind of insane. So really what you're looking for on your rings is maximum mana, cast speed, mana regeneration, intelligence, and then like reses or like no intelligence, 2 reses. And it doesn't really matter what the other prefixes are. Like if you get damage, then that's fine. But otherwise, those are the main things that you're looking for. They're just really expensive rings to either buy, and trying to craft them is just really tough. So those is kind of what you want on your rings, because you can get up to 25% increased cast speed, or 24%, which is really, really good. So that's kind of the gear, guys. Increase armor, evasion, and energy shield in the runes. You shouldn't have to use runes to cap your reses at all. Mine are basically capped here. Now, the chaos res doesn't mean anything because we have chaos inoculation, but my reses are basically capped. If I had like 1 more res here, that would be better, right, to be overcapped, but it's really, really good. We take the freeze charm because freeze just sucks for us as a sorceress, because stun and freeze just automatically like kill us. It just sucks. I don't even know why sorceresses have such a hard time against like, you know, stun and freeze. It's just really bad for sorceresses for some reason. I think it's built in. On our swap, we don't have necessarily a swap just yet, but we have Chimming Staff here with a bunch of really good stats, because we are using our nice little Sigil of Power, which Sigil of Power is going to scale our damage exponentially, especially against bosses. So this thing is really, really juiced, guys. That's the passive tree and gear. Now, the playstyle is very straightforward. Let's go ahead and go into a map real quick. I just want to kind of show you off a map. We got a boss here. which is really great. We got a T. I've been trying to hold off my T15s. So we could do this one with the Worldstone, and then there's delirious monsters in here, which is really cool. So this is a T14. And you could just kind of see the power of this build. It is very, very easy to play. All you're really going to be doing is casting Firewall and Spark, and then your other spells if you really want to. So we have Sigil of Power here with Ingenuity and Second Wind, so that way we can use it more often. On Spark, you really want a 4-1 here, and we're going to be going with Arcane Tempo for more cast speed. Inspiration, so it costs 40% less. Acceleration, which has more projectile speed, which is why you see it come out so fast. And Persistence, which makes it last 40% longer. Now, there is some other gems here that you can swap out, like Consecrated Effect and stuff like that, but I really like this. This just feels really, really good, because the longer that these sparks are out, the more damage that they're going to deal to everything. Now, we scale a lot of damage through Archmage with Lightning Mastery to give it +1 skills. So every 100, we gain 8% of damage as extra for each 100 maximum mana we have. So we got 3,800, which is a lot of damage, and that scales exponentially. So a quick tip here, you want to make sure that you have quality on these gems. 4 more projectiles on the Spark is insane amount of damage. And then same thing on Archmage, you get 2% more of damage, which is nuts. You go from 4 to 6%. That's a huge amount of damage, like 15%. It's kind of crazy. Now, Orb of Storms is a nice little backup spell. I like to put that in against like elites or big packs that are kind of pushing me, because, you know, it's just an extra source of damage. I'm not going to use this all the time, but it's really good. We pair that with Conduction for more shock, Lightning Exposure, as well as Strip Away, which is really nice. We got Mana Tempest with Premeditation for Premeditation for even more damage. I don't really use this too much because that drains our mana, and if we run out of mana, then we're just going to die. But what you can do is kind of drop it, use it, and then just kind of move, because it lingers, so you get the added effects. So that's really good. We got Conductivity here for curses with Heightened Curse for increased effect, as well as Focus Curse. I only use this on like elites or bosses. You just drop the curse on them, and then boom, you're good to go. And then last but not least, we got Firewall here. I think I'm going to put Fire Mastery in here to give it 1 more level. But we got Spell Cascade as well as Fortress, which is great. You throw this down and it makes 3 of them. And then you just cast your Sparks and you destroy everything. So this is really, really strong. Make sure in here you have everything paired to your 1. Use weapon set with 1, because we will be doing a switch later perhaps. But for right now, this is just good. So I'm just going to run through and kind of showcase the build a little bit. So one major tip here is that when you're holding, you see how slow I'm moving? However, if you run and just tap it like every second, you can move at full speed, which is really sweet for dodging monsters. And because your sparks last for so long, you can just kind of dodge stuff and just let the sparks kill them. And you can just move at full speed. Now, you can't spam it, because if you spam it, you look like this. So it's like 1, 2. It's kind of like back in the D3 days when you would like do this to kind of kite monsters. So think of it like that as you're moving. T13, nice. So it's such a good build, so fun to play, so easy to play. You know what I mean? You just got to really get your gear down and get that Everlasting Gaze. Otherwise, you're kind of just doing lower tier maps, but because your defenses are going to be a little tough. But once you get that Everlasting Gaze, this build really unlocks. And it's so good, man. Like, I love playing this build. Now, I do like the playstyle of Lightning Warp and Ball Lightning better. But this one's just very simple, and it just does more damage. It's just so easy to play. And you can see I'm just like destroying stuff. They just die. I have no issues on mana. I mean, my mana does run a little low because I don't have my mana regeneration in my rings, which is my next 2 immediate upgrades. But this thing is really good. Now, the biggest reason why I switched to this was that way I had a high level farmer, so I can farm up a bunch of currency and a bunch of loot and a bunch of gear and all that stuff for my other classes. Because we got like 4, or we're working on our 5th class right now, chat. And guys who's watching here on YouTube. So we're just kind of blasting right now, but you can see that this build just, you have no issues. It's so fun. And if you do the tap, you can kind of like speed farm You know, look, these guys can't even get me because I'm just tapping and keeping up with my speed. It's just so easy. Now, if we drop Firewall, we can kind of get away from these guys because I want to avoid the stun. But if we want to blast, then we can just kill this dude and then he's dead. No problem whatsoever. Like, the build is just really, really fun. And we got some juice right now on this map. You can see the modifiers. Got some really nice juice here. But yeah, I will cut real quick to the boss fight because I want to show you guys how well the boss fight goes. But, yeah, man, this build is just kind of insane. It's kind of nuts. Maybe we won't cut. Do another tablet. Fantastic. The build just shreds. Like, nothing can get to you. It's just awesome, man. Oh, there goes another elite. Drop all our stuff. Orb of Storms. Kill all the magics. Kill this guy because he's annoying. Oh, looks like we need to be close to him because he's phasing. Yep, then we kill him. Easy. I think we got the boss coming up, maybe. It'd be nice if we did. Okay. So we're about to do this boss fight. So how this boss fight works is really, really fun and easy. So what, I mean, like the strategy is easy. So what you're going to do is basically roll up into the fight. You're going to drop this, your premedition, right? Or excuse me, your sigil of power. And all you're going to do is spam up your sparks. So that way you can increase your damage, right? You're going to increase your damage. And then as soon as he becomes available to be attacked, you hit him with a curse. And then you just spam, right? You drop your Firewall, Orb of Storms if you want, and just spam. And then we should kill the boss relatively quickly, depending on the mechanics. So let's go ahead and get in here. Okay, we're in. Spam this up. Orb of Storms. Kind of get to see her health bar drop a little bit. She's really annoying with her attacks. So as long as you can dodge them, but you can see her health bar just drop. Dodge that. Just be careful of your mana. Cursor. And then bang. Bosses are just super easy in this build. Super, super easy. Another tier 15, a bone wand, another tier 15. Regal shards. So yeah, guys, this is Spark. This is a really, really fun and easy build, especially if you're following the leveling guide through the campaign. This is an easy transition, especially if you're a Stormweaver. So yeah, guys, like the video, comment down below. Let me know if you guys have any questions. The planner will be in the description. And don't forget to subscribe if you guys are new. Make sure to like and comment, guys. It really helps out the channel. And as always, stay gaming. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.